Hey, what's going on, everyone? Great to see you guys here. Here, let's get the applause going. There it is. Cheers. Hello to everyone. Once again, like I said, thank you guys for being here. So I know, you guys hear that? Right on time, right on cue. Gideon's feeder never fails. Never fails. So I know last night, Sunday night, is normally when we do Max's Man Cave. So I apologize that I had to move it to tonight. I had a family dinner that I needed to attend last night, so we just moved it to Monday nights. And I figure this is when I used to do it anyway, so there wouldn't be too much of a difference, hopefully. So yeah, hopefully this is a good time. I know also currently that Crowder is on Timcast right now, discussing the ins and outs of the Crowder situation and the Daily Wire situation. So I completely understand if you guys have that on and are watching that, because I'm sure that is, I was actually watching that right before I came on here and started live streaming. The other thing is I know Flaccid Phoenix is going to be live at 7 tonight, and he's going to be discussing some things with his channel, so I do not want to step on him. So it's kind of like, you know, it's always tough to try and find a time where you can really engage with your fans, engage with your friends, engage with the chat. And this tends to be like Sunday, Monday night tends to be the best time that I can always make it. But it's always a very busy night for a lot of other people. So with all that being said, it means a lot that you guys are here right now with me, because it takes, you know, to be present with that person, to be present with that individual who you're speaking with, whether it's you guys, chat, or whether it's chat watching me. You know, you are taking your time out of your day to go do that. So with all that being said, I appreciate it. So let's see who's here. Let's go ahead and say hi. Jacob Ironside, first in the chat. What's going on, dude? Great to see you. Cajun Corey, hello. Harley Dave, what's up, brother? Semper Fi. Jay the Deep Minded, hello to you as well. And I'm going to take a sip of my coffee real quick. Never mind that it's a Louder with Crowder mug. We'll get into that very briefly. And I promise we won't like delve into like super intense detail with the Crowder stuff. Oh, g'day everyone. Ben Caldwell. I've been working on my Australian accent, eh? Ah, that was pretty. That was okay. You got to give me that one. That was a little bit better. That was okay. Lord Thoth, what up, LT? Great to see you, man. Mark McGrath, who's down with MVP? Who is down with MVP? I should post a poll in the chat. Are you down with MVP? Yes or no? Smile a while. Hello, great to see you. And Know Me Without You. Love that avatar. That looks great. I love that. Let's see. Wakizoshi's Tea House. What's up, man? It is so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hail and best wishes from a snowy... Oh my god, I am sure that is gorgeous. Don't let the craziness get you down, Max. The light will always extinguish the darkness. Hail to that, my man. Hail to that. But yes, thank you, Gray. That means a lot. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like burnout is a real thing. Quarter Black and I have talked about this every now and then, like whenever I get to see him at meetups and stuff. But burnout is truly, I think you really recognize it when you're kind of in the thick of it and you don't really see an end. It's tough, man. The interesting thing about that is that I never intended for, hey, what's up, Salty? Good to see you, dude. Thank you for being here. Ben, that is the nicest insult I've ever received. I guess we can all call it improvement. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Crocodile Dundee. Yeah, that's probably where I did get that accent from. So I never really intended for me to talk so much about politics on the channel. And as I've watched other channels and as I've watched other debates here on YouTube, I've realized that like I really know nothing in the grand scheme of things. I really have a very minute view of the broader implications of like political discussions and arguments. Like a lot of that stuff goes way over my head. And so I've watched other YouTube channels and videos that really know the ins and outs of political ideologies and movements, and like that stuff is very interesting, but it would never be like what I'd want to actually create an entire channel around. And it just proves, like I said, how little I do know in the grand scheme of things. I talk very surface level stuff. I talk about stuff that I think I might know about, but I don't really know. Like, I can't really say 100% that what I'm saying is truth. I think that I can speak to what I believe is truth. From my faith, from my background as a Christian, as a man in the military, and I can speak on things that I've experienced. But like actual studies and stuff like that, I can only speak to what I've researched or what I've seen. So yeah, man, it's tough. It is very, like I said, it's very interesting to. I know, yeah. Now I'm mixing Australian with Canadian. Yeah, politics are messy, man. It gets messy, and that's the thing. It's like I want to be at least aware, right? I want to be knowledgeable enough to speak intelligently about it, and I want to be able to speak truth, the truth, because there is only one truth. There's not my truth and your truth. I believe that there's one truth, and so to be able to do that, though, I want to come from a place of understanding and compassion, but also a place of, stern, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like, I do think there needs to be a sternness and a confidence in that. And you can't really do that if you don't understand the ins and outs of what it is that you're talking about. And so what has happened, I feel like, is like the entertainment that I've covered and the comic books that I've covered and the Warhammer stuff that I've covered has tended to get political based off of the implications of what is happening in those industries. So like, if I start to talk about Hollywood, that conversation is going to most likely turn political at some point due to what I feel is happening within the Hollywood, entertainment sphere. Same thing with comic books. Like, I can talk about all the amazing comic books that I've read and all the fantastic stuff that I really enjoy, all the great characters and storylines. But at some point, I do have to recognize what's being done in the comic industry right now, and we'll get into that a little bit later tonight. And stuff like that, I never want to focus on, and yet that's what I found myself doing. I made so much of that like into the focus of what I was talking about when it came to like comic books or entertainment. And that's not really what I want to do. I think it's good to talk about it, and I think it's important to talk about it. But I don't want it to be the overarching, the all-encompassing end-all be-all of what the channel is. And that's where it gets messy, is like, once you get into the discussions, it's like, okay, who are you arguing with? What's the point? What is the message that you're trying to get across? A lot of these different questions that come up when you start debating and discussing and arguing on these things. Hey, what's up, Eric? Great to see you, brother. Thanks for being here as well. Yeah, and that's the thing, Salty, is like, a lot of people will blame the fans for a lot of things that go down within the industry, within comics, within, Warhammer, whatever it is, even like music, a lot of people will begin to point fingers at the fans, and yet the fans were never the ones who created these things. The fans were never the ones who created these movies. We merely watched them and enjoyed them. But then we get the finger pointed at, and it's like, well, you're the bad guy. And it's like, I never created that movie that you have an inherent problem with. That was Hollywood back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever. That wasn't me. And I think that's what's frustrating, is like, I will discuss these things on the platform. I never want them to, like I said, over-encompass everything else that I discuss. But I think that they are an important part, because that is those are the big discussions that are happening now, is that things have tended to become much more polarized, dehumanized. Look at how people talk to each other. It's, at any turn, if you can straw man an argument by discussing, oh, well, you are this, because you believe this, you are this, you then have to defend that argument of, well, I'm not that, or I don't think that, sorry, Gideon has been jumping on things, so. Oh, Harley, right? This is a dope sweatshirt, huh? The Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. So yeah, sorry, I'm talking way too much about this, because I already should have gotten into the topics for tonight. What's going on, Ash Lauren? Great to see you here as well. So yeah, all that being said, there's definitely burnout when politics becomes your religion. When politics becomes the thing that you live and breathe, and you then wake up looking to get angry. And that is not the way to live. There's so many other things that I can think of that I would want to go enjoy and be a part of, and go spend my money or my time or my effort on. And there are going to be people who say, well, Max, like, whatever you say, it doesn't matter because everything is political. Everything has been political. And if you can't see that, you just don't understand it, or you don't, again, another straw man, another argument that has been coerced into oblivion, and ad nauseum. And it becomes frustrating because I think it's on everyone's interpretation. If you look at a piece of art, I can enjoy it for a piece of art and subjectively really like the painting and the color and the artistry and the talent. Someone else might look at that same piece of art and may hate all of that. But they subjectively really think that this is a political piece and that it speaks to the patriarchal nature of white supremacy and blah, 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 blah. Those are two separate experiences of someone enjoying art, and both are subjective to that person. The only, you could say that the creator of that art piece ultimately has like what they intended that work to be. But with the idea that everything is political, nothing is subjective. Everything is objectively political. I think it's how you look at a story, because as someone who is not entwined and is not ensconced in political ideology, I would read a comic book and I might not see the political messaging in it. There might be some of it, but I might not see that. Same thing with another comic. There might be no political affiliation or association with it, but someone would still see a political affiliation or association with it. The writer would just be like, no, I was just writing a fun story. But someone else might read that and go, no, this is what you were saying, right? You were talking about the inherent racism towards this community. Like, no, that's not at all. So I think, like I said, it can be very subjective, and I think everyone has their own experience when interpreting art and when experiencing art. And so these arguments have continued to go on ad nauseum. And let's face it, it is 2023. Are we really, it's 2023, and the same stuff I heard back in 2019, 2017, the same things have just been repeated for today's audience. It is wild that it can last for such a long time of the same things being said over and over and over again. To at this point, I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to change your mind. At this point, I'm like, I can't change anyone's mind. I can try and talk about this stuff and at least, give my take on it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, if you've been saying this stuff for the past decade about Trump or about whatever ideology it is that you were following, I don't know what to do at this point. And like I said in one of my videos earlier, it would be easy to just kind of fade off into the distance with a comic book and a couple models and paints in hand and just live out the rest of my days like that, But I think it's important to talk about this stuff briefly and with an understanding that, everyone is going to have their perspective and everyone is going to have their experience. So the screams will continue. Yeah. Time for some therapy. Build and paint those plastic soldiers. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, baby. That's the thing about art interpreters. We do see what we want to see. Others will see the art differently. Absolutely. Hey, what's up, Zach? It's good to see you, dude. Thanks for being here. I got to say we're going to need that. I've got just a cup of coffee tonight, brother. Yeah, no liquor for me tonight. And yeah, that brings up another point in terms of Zach says I would take a couple models. But yeah, that brings up another good point. It's because we're about to talk about Crowder right now, and I know he's live. I know he's live with Tim Pool. I don't necessarily want to see comic books with a conservative mindset. I think it'd be great to have conservative creators. I think it'd be great to have Christian creators. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a balanced view of having Christian conservative creators, leftist, liberal, atheist creators, diversity of thought, right? We talk about that all the time in my business classes that I'm taking right now. I would love to see more Christian conservative creators. What I don't want to see are Christian conservative comic books. What I don't want to see are Christian conservative movies. What I don't want to see are Christian conservative Warhammer figures. I don't want a story about Trump. I don't want a model or a comic book based around the Daily Wire. That sounds as bad, as awful, as boring, and as pathetic as a more left-leaning comic, or a more like an SJW comic or something. I don't want either side, and I lean more conservative. I do consider myself a conservative Christian. I am those things. And yet I can objectively say I do not want that type of comic book. It's boring. It sounds pedantic. It sounds lazy. It sounds pathetic. I don't want to read that stuff. I want to read a fantastical story that takes me away from the bullshit of the world. And so that means that I don't want the politics of 2023 involved in that, right or left. And I think that's fair to say. I think that's very, I think, like I said, that is a very mild take. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? But hey, there you go, Eric. Hawkman and Green Arrow. Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect classic example of what that looks like in a conservative and a left, a liberal view of two different heroes. Same thing that Ann Nesenti and Mike Baron did back in the early 90s. I want to say it was the 90s, where Ann Nesenti wrote a Daredevil comic book and Mike Baron wrote a Punisher comic book. And it was the same story, but it was from two different points of view. So the comic book, if you read them, they're really well done. But if you read them, it's the same events, it's the same panels, but from two different perspectives, one from the Punisher and one from the Daredevil. And Ann Nesenti, who wrote Daredevil, is very liberal. And Mike Baron is very conservative. And so you got those two perspectives. I thought that was great. There was that balance, right? And it was done respectfully, I feel like. Speak for yourself. I will take a trilogy of God Emperor Trump movies, says Flaccid. maybe as a humorous, comedic, satirical film trilogy. Sure, why not? Yeah, that's the thing, Jay. It's a great point. I've seen God is Dead, and I can understand where you don't like films like that and why they're bad. Vin Zinger, I also think, by the way, what's going on, brother? I don't know if I said hi to you yet. I think that the unfortunate thing with Christian movies is that they have no budget, they have no actors, they have no production, they have no story. It's just, Christian messaging, which is fine for Christians who want to watch that. But if they are trying to make a story that is like on the level of a Hollywood, type media conglomerate, no, they are awful. They are Hallmark films. You know what I mean? No production, no acting ability, no money. Like, they are bad. They are objectively not great films. Now, for Christians, I know that a lot of my friends watch those and they love them. I can't get over the fact that it looks like a low-budget college film, and so that's kind of where my thing comes in. Willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own, open to new ideas. Well, yeah. That, and hey, why do we see, that's the interesting thing, Harley. Why do we see so many, I can't tell you how many creators on YouTube I've listened to say, I've voted left my entire life, or I've leaned to the left my entire life. But in the modern era, in the current era of where politics are going, I have skewed more right, not because of my beliefs, but because where the goalposts have moved, right? And so that's what I think is so interesting, is like most liberal individuals now would skew middle to right based off of where the goalposts have moved, or where, ideologies have started to lie. So I think that that's kind of an interesting notion, is that the classic term of liberal, like you said, willing to respect or accept behaviors or opinions different from one's own. God Emperor Trump of mankind would destroy. Yeah. Hey, and that's totally fine, Vinzinger. There should be no issue with entertainment being no budget or low budget. I love what was it? There was a really low budget film. I think a lot of Robert Eggers stuff has lower budget, but it still looks beautiful, and he gets the best out of his actors. He gets the best out of his scenes. He really is able to create a spectacle. I think I think it's tough because the Christian Hollywood type of films, I guess I shouldn't have said I don't like them because they're low budget. I guess I should say they suffer because they're low budget. And so because of that, they don't have the talent to pay to make a higher production, or to have better acting, or to have someone who writes a better script. Like a lot of that takes money. And so unfortunately there's not a lot of that. I have been watching a little bit of The Chosen, and that has actually been very good. That I will argue, comparatively to like A God's Not Dead or something, The Chosen has been very, very well done in my opinion. So when ideology or religious beliefs come ahead of making great art, yes, yeah. Well said, Jay. So, sorry guys, I had no idea that I was going to talk for this long about politics in general, but hey, that's what's so great about chat, is that you guys, it's a conversation. If I were to just sit here and not even look at you guys or acknowledge you guys, what's the point of the live stream then, right? Primer, 2004 time travel movie. Oh, interesting. Oh, there's one called The Void. That film is awesome. I mean, it's not great writing, and it's kind of like, what happened at the end? But the body horror and the prosthetics, oh, it is so good. And that is a low budget movie. Like, that had no budget. Eric, I have not had a live stream with Carrie Smith yet. I have reached out to her. I haven't heard anything back, but I would love to try and reach out to her again, because she is a sweetheart. She's a pure gem. She is so rad. I've heard nothing but great things about The Chosen still. Right, Flaccid? Yeah, man. My parents are watching it, and they are like obsessed, dude. They love it. I'll acknowledge. I will acknowledge you, Harley, and I will also acknowledge Shelby Loves. Hey, Shelby. Notice me, senpai. Notice me. Yeah, check it out, Flaccid. Also, guys, go check out Flaccid's stream right after this in 30 minutes. I'll probably still be going for a little bit longer, but if you guys can, go support Flaccid over on his channel. He'll be live at 7, talking about some stuff with his channel. I will most likely go over there and watch that as well, because I don't know what's going on, Flaccid. So hopefully you guys can figure that out with old Mama Susan. But why wouldn't she want to be on the stream? You have like 18 subs. Harley, I have more than 18 subs. I have like at least 20 subs. Come on now. All right, finally. 30 minutes in, we're getting into Crowder. I want to be very careful with how I speak about this and how I discuss this, because I know that it's been discussed ad nauseum, but you can fucking bet that I'm not talking about Velma, because everyone and their fucking mom thinks that Velma is like, hey, let's talk about how bad this show is, even though it has nothing to do with comic books, nothing to do with nerd shit. Everyone's now claiming, I've been a Scooby-Doo fan forever. And it's like, dude, no, you fuck Velma and everything that, like, it's I haven't watched it. Of course, Flaccid. But I haven't watched it, but I've watched everyone's reaction to it. And it makes me go, okay, then why are we still talking about it? Let it die. Let it die. We already know it's going to be We know it's already bad. It's bad. And there's another like view that you can have about hate watching and all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about individuals who have these like big comic book channels that are like, no, now we're going to talk about Velma. And it's like, why? Like, because you're going to get more views, right? Yes, that's the point. People like to see Velma fail. They like to see that show and stuff like that fail because it's individuals who think they are funny, who think that they have a lot of talent, basically bombing. And YouTube likes outrage and it likes to push that type of, programming or whatnot. So I have literally not. I've not seen one channel not talk about Velma. So I made a distinct, I drew a line in the sand, and I was like, there are two things that are being talked about right now: Crowder and Velma. And I drew the line right past Velma because I was like, I'm not talking about this. We all know how fucking dumb it is. And we don't need to talk about it anymore. It's worthless to try and continue to speak about it or whatever. Cynical Theories. Okay, I'll have to check it out. It's kind of boring. Boring books are my favorite, dude. They're great. So, like I said, when it comes to Crowder, I want to try and be as articulate, and I want to try and speak as, as intellectually as I can on the subject. But the truth is, I don't know everything. And I don't know all the ins and outs of the subject. I don't know all the ins and outs of the nuances of the deal. I don't know the nuances of intellectual properties. And hey, Miss Martin Muses, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Super Friends was a good one, Mark McGrath. Absolutely, dude. That was fun. And I watched a little bit of Ricada. I love watching Ricada's streams. He's very intellectual and has a lot to say about a lot of this stuff. So I love watching his stuff, but I will not say that I'm an expert when it comes to any of this. What I will say, though, is that when I first watched the Crowder video in general, when I first watched that first one that he dropped, and he's like, we need to talk about this or whatever, a lot of people began to take things that I necessarily didn't think were that important, and they started to talk about that. What I got from that video and what I took away from that video was that conservative media was not going to be able to have an outlet to speak about things that they felt they were passionate about without getting demonetized. And so the thing with the Crowder situation is that I think people begin to start taking like, oh, the phone call or the money or what's Crowder's intention or who was it? The Daily Wire? Was it Fox? What about Blaze? Like all these different things. And I didn't care about that stuff. And I don't know if that says anything more about like me or if that's just not what I'm focused on. But the thing that I took from that video was that if we are going to have a fair and balanced media source like YouTube or Rumble, or, well, I'm not saying these things are, but I'm saying that they could be, or what they should be, like if YouTube should be a balanced media platform, if Rumble and Odyssey and Twitter and all these different tech conglomerates and media conglomerates, if they are going to be balanced, then those individuals like Vosh, those individuals like, what's that guy's name? He's always on the H3H3 podcast, but yeah, Vosh, H3H3, Hassan, that's who I'm thinking of. If all those individuals are able to say what they want, and they lean left, that's fine. If they have these platforms and never get deplatformed or never get demonetized and say whatever it is that they want, whether it's correct or not, then I believe that the same should be for right-wing media. And I think that that is okay. I think it's good to then have both sides of an argument, and the individual who is listening to both sides can then take what they want from both sides. But if YouTube is determining what information is coming out, that that is what I have a problem with. Yeah, Flaccid, that's another thing, is like a lot of people have stopped watching both, so they don't really care, and that's fine. And yeah, well, that's the thing, Harley, you said about the recording of the call. This is tough because it's like two warring factions that are on the same side starting to attack each other, and then the other, attacking tribe or whatever is looking over like, are these idiots fighting each other? We don't have to do anything. We've already won. We have already won. And so the lawyers always start way too high and unfair. Asking for it's standard practice. Oh, okay. Thanks, Harley. Flaccid Vosh. Yeah, Cajun, both sides do make valid points. And I don't want to pick a side, because I believe that both sides need to have that platform. Crowder does what Crowder does best, and Daily Wire does what Daily Wire does best. I jumped off the Crowder and Daily Wire train a while back, so I didn't keep up with any of this. And that's fine. That's the thing, Shelby. I do not condone anyone for hopping off this thing. I find it interesting just because I think I like listening to both sides, and I think it's interesting to kind of figure out what's going on. But for other people, like for me, Velma, I listened to one Velma video and I was fucking done. I was like, I don't need to hear shit about this anymore. I'm done. And a lot of people felt that way with Crowder and Daily Wire, and that's totally fine. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. So, back to what I was saying though, I think it's dangerous because if you have, like, let's say football, you have like the Vikings versus the Raiders. I don't know, I'm just making something up. And the Vikings start fighting within each other, within their ranks, and the football team is fighting amongst each other. The quarterback is yelling at the offensive linemen, the receivers are yelling at the running backs. No one can figure out what's going on. The Raiders have already won that football game. The Raiders see the unrest and the conflict between the Vikings, and they go, okay, well, why the fuck do we even need to play now? Because we've won. And I think that's the thing with the right and the left, is that the right and the left both are kind of they are butting heads right now, and they're trying to both come out on the other side of this culture war. And Pats versus Bucks, there you go, Shelby. And no, Zach, that is absolutely not true. So, because the left and the right are both trying to win this culture war, the right needs, I don't think that the right needs right now, I don't think they need individuals to be calling each other out and like pointing fingers. However, and this is where I say however, I do understand why Crowder would get upset, especially if he thought that Daily Wire was in line with big tech in terms of censorship. Because the big thing with conservatives, I've seen this on my YouTube channel. I know other conservatives have seen this on their YouTube channels and other like sources and stuff. They will get deplatformed. They will get demonetized. They will have their stuff hidden. They will not be in the search engine. But leftist media will. I guarantee you, if for you guys, if I began to speak more about left-wing media or left-wing politics or trans ideology, LGBTQ, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and stuff like that, my channel would go up 100,000 subscribers tomorrow if I began to talk about that stuff. It's more widely recognized, it's more widely accepted and known and liked and all that stuff. So I think that the conservative media has been pushed more down to, obscurity, and that worries me, because not because I'm a conservative, but because I believe everyone should have a balanced opinion. Everyone should be able to decide for themselves and be able to understand what it is that they are listening to. And I think that that's a super tame take, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Like, at least I don't think I am. I think that that's a very tame understanding of, like, I hear this side, and I get to choose which one I hear. But if one is suppressed, like Crowder is saying, that the Daily Wire would essentially be suppressing your material or taking your budget away if you were being suppressed, which you will be. One of the things I remember him saying was, like, he had alluded to, like, Daily Wire just being in collusion with Mama Susan, and just being like, don't worry, Mama Susan, we'll go ahead and take care of those pesky conservative channels for you. And that, to me, that's what I got from the video. That's why I was like, whoa, that's sketchy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's another thing, Warwick, is like, are they friends? Like, friends, quote unquote? I think Ricada had a great point on this. For media's sake, I think you call each other friends. Like, if I were to be on a show for the first time, I would say, oh yeah, I'm meeting up with some of my friends for a stream. I don't really know who they are. I'm not friends with them in real life. But I want to have this appearance of, I'm going to be speaking with other like-minded people who are my friends, who I enjoy being around. And so I think a lot of that is going to be media portrayal. And if you are going to portray yourself as a friend to Daily Wire, portray yourself to a friend of conservative media, that's something you have to do. I don't actually know if they were friends. Like, hey, dude, hey, Jeremy, let's go grab a beer. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point, Flaccid. When was the last time we saw Daily Wire on the front lines of topic fighting YouTube's Overton window? Yeah, that's a good point, man. So, with all that being said, I will try not to linger too much on this, but here, yeah. But yeah, I will try not to linger too much on this. This is kind of what I will finish off saying. If you guys haven't watched the Daily Wire Jordan Peterson Theology Roundtable, that is brilliant. It has nothing to do with politics. None of them discuss politics. They all discuss scripture, and biblical tie-ins. They talk about, I believe they did Genesis, and now they're on, oh shoot, I would need to look it up again, but that series is absolutely gorgeous in terms of material, in terms of spectacle, the production, and in terms of what they are saying. It is so well done. It is so well spoken. And I think that is one of the prevailing factors of Daily Wire. That is why I know I watch Daily Wire, is for Jordan Peterson's theological discussions. So regardless of what happens between Crowder and Daily Wire, I'll most likely still watch those theological discussions because I really enjoy the theology of things. The Daily Wire stuff in terms of like political stuff, maybe I will continue. Like, I don't really watch Ben Shapiro. I watch Matt Walsh. I don't watch Candace Owens. So like, who else am I watching on there? No one really. So I mainly follow Jordan Peterson, and I watch Matt Walsh's things every now and then. Steven, I will continue to watch because I think that Dave Landau is amazing. I think Steven is well spoken. I think Gerald, and I think that those guys produce a good quality show. I hate to see this going on right now, because it just means that we are warring factions within our own tribe, and that fucking sucks. That it's not fun to see your friends or your family fight. And so I hope that this gets resolved, and I hope this comes to a conclusion. But this was big in terms of spectacle, because now a lot of people are going to be very distrustful of Crowder and Daily Wire. And those are two of the biggest conservative media platforms out there. And if we can't trust those two, then who the fuck are we going to trust? And I think that that's really hurtful, and that's going to be a big blow to conservatives. So I don't know, man. It's tough. It's really tough. I want to be as empathetic as I can be, because I like both of these guys. And I think that's the thing, is like, I think a lot of people enjoy both of those conservative media platforms, and no one wants to see this type of thing happen. But if the truth does need to be out there, it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle to get that out there. The Change My Mind skits are, those were Crowder's claim to fame, right? Were the Change My Mind skits. Harley, dude, that's a great point, man. I had to stop watching for my mental health. That's the thing, man. That's why I had to get off Twitter, is because all I saw was just a constant barrage of just bullshit. And I was like, I cannot do this anymore, man. It's so difficult. Candace Owens had a pretty intense reaction to that. So I haven't. Yeah, I won't get into. I don't know her as well as I know the others. I don't watch her stuff at all. You know who I do watch though? Amala, something like that. She did a podcast with Gary a while ago, but I've been watching her stuff for the past 2 years, even before she did the podcast with Gary. She is on fire, man. I love her stuff. And she's funny too. She's well-spoken. She's like my age. It's wild. True Max, they're pushing a pro-spiritual conservative ideals. Wish there were more New Testament segments, if you know what I mean. Oh, for sure, Flaccid. If Daily Wire could have a whole faction or a whole section of their Daily Wire platform that was like strictly theological, give me that, man. That's what I want. That's what I wish I had. I wish we had a great show on TV like Firing Line. I don't know if I've seen that. Don't look behind that curtain. Try this soup instead. More division and divide in a divided house that's been struggling to keep itself upright. That is a sign of the times. Whew. Right, Harley? You really have to be careful who you let live in your head rent-free. Filter constantly. Good call, Mark. Absolutely. Did they say what they were fighting is about? Haven't been paying attention to the drama. So I it would take me like an hour to try and discuss all the little minute details of everything. I would highly recommend watching Crowder's videos and Daily Wire's videos as of late in the past like week, and those will kind of discuss everything that's been going on between the two. The comet coming down next month. Just take us all out, Harley. I'm hoping that let's just end it. Whiny little shits, they can make a massive difference in impact. Dude, that's the thing, but it seems like they just make YouTube videos. And that's what's real. It's like these guys have such an impact on people, and they could really be doing some, well, they already have been doing a lot of really good, at least I think, at least for conservative media. Look at how many, regardless of whether you agree with him or not. Hey, X-Ray Girl, great to see you. Thanks for being here. But yeah, regardless of whether you are conservative or not, I think that, most single middle-aged to young men are looking for purpose. They are looking for mentorship. They are looking for leaders. And so by this kind of going on, it's really tough to do that now for these young men to look for a mentor, look for a leader, when these leaders are constantly warring against each other. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say about it. I am so sorry that it took me so long to talk about this and discuss this, but that's all I got to say. I hope for the best. I wish for the best, and I truly believe that cooler heads will prevail. I think that this will get sorted out, and I just want more theological content. That's what I'll say. Yes, Harley Dave, actually good, bro. Oh no, that's gonna get clipped. All right, let's get into some geek shit though. Let's get into some nerd shit. We're done talking politics for tonight. Let's get into some geek shit. Ooh, that's a good point, Jay. Yeah, if you look at like other outside countries and like so I have friends and family in Italy, and they're going through similar discussions right now in Italy, and they are pissed at us Westerners in the US because they're like, why the fuck are your American politics coming into our Italian Roman like culture? You know, like, fuck you and your stupid Western politics. Like, don't put that shit on us. They are so mad. They will constantly. I love my Italian family, but yeah, they're talking to. They text me and my mom and my dad on WhatsApp, and they're constantly like, look at what's happening to Italy now. Yes, we do need a Bible Man reboot, Flaccid. But yeah. So check this out. The new. Oh, let me move this out of the way. It doesn't matter. The new codex for the Imperial Guard has come out. She's a beaut. This is the exclusive cover. The exclusive book has come out for the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, which is why I'm wearing their hoodie tonight. But their models look fantastic. I think they will still have more coming out soon, because if you look at some of the pages in here, you'll actually see that there are some models that haven't been released yet that I'm kind of like, well, this is interesting because I have not, like this one, I have not seen you on the GW workshop or the GW page yet. So why do I not see you there, sir? Or like, I don't think I've seen these guys yet. So I think there are going to be, the commissar. The commissar model looks dope, but I do not see him on the GW page. So I don't know. We'll see. Look at these tanks, though. I think this is the Lehman Russ. No, this is the Rogel Dorn. Hoo-hoo! Yeah, these tanks look great, man. White patriarchy, is that what you said, Dave? Adrian says, does it really look pretty? It is extremely hinting close to home. Oh, it's extremely hitting close to home where both sides are lying and try to use you to conduct business. Oh, Adrian, if you're discussing the Crowder stuff, sorry, I'm trying to interpret what you're saying in the chat. I think what you're trying to say is that both sides seem like they're lying in order to kind of conduct outrage in order to build their businesses. If that's the case, I would actually argue that this kind of hurts both of their businesses. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, never seen the commissar at the PX. Dude, Harley, could you imagine, Flaccid and Harley, could you guys imagine if they sold Games Workshop products within the PX? Those little Lance Corporals wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They would spend all their hard-earned $50 a month on Warhammer models. Oh, Adrian, yeah. Oh, that's the thing, brother. I have not been able to watch the Tim Pool cast, unfortunately, but I was watching it before this, a little bit of it before this, and it seemed really interesting. So I'm interested in seeing more of that. What's up, Christian? Hey, good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. From the outside, I absolutely could see how it's all completely petty. Yeah. But yeah, man, this new codex looks gorgeous. So they released 3 different codexes, but they're all the same interiors, which what you're going to see is you're going to see this codex, which is the one from the actual box set. So there's this codex, and then there are 2 other codices with 2 different covers. One that's like a solid cover that doesn't have any text, and then one cover that does have text. But the interiors of all of these will still be the same. But yeah, it gives us the Indomitus era, which I know if you guys talk to Arch, he is not a fan of, which respectfully, like, I totally understand. All right, Flaccid, I know you got to go, brother, but go get that bread. I'll most likely come over to your stream after this one, and I hope you're doing well, brother. Oh, Flaccid, you're saying, oh, goodbye paychecks. Yeah, no, for sure. Max, are you just into 40K? Have you looked into the Horus Heresy at all? Work. So I've been into 40K since I was probably... Oh, God, I think I walked into my first Games Workshop when I was like 9 or 10, but really started getting into it like around maybe 11 or 12, I forget. But I distinctively remember painting Beasts of Chaos, Warhammer Fantasy, Armies of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness, and then I've been on and off the hobby ever since then. I've gotten more into 40K as the years have gone on, especially with them getting rid of Warhammer Fantasy. But yeah, man, it's been cool to get, get some of these new pickups from the hobby, because I know that they're releasing a lot of new stuff. But I also understand how kind of messy the Games Workshop company is. It's a business, of course, so they're going to do some shady stuff like price gouge their fucking market. Bro, I get $1,200 a month. I can totally add like 4 more to the line. Yeah. Exactly, Harley. That's the Lance Corporal mindset, baby. Bro, I get like $1,000 a month. I can totally afford this Dodge Charger, bro. Rogel Dorn tank looks great until you turn it over, no base plate and hollow. Oh no, that's shitty. I'm sorry, Jay. That sucks. You should tell Arch that women's Space Marines are a thing. They're motor tough. Hey, what's up, Josh? He says, Max, Warhammer Fantasy, sign me up. Josh, we need to get you into Warhammer, brother. I think you'd have a blast. I think you'd have a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of flip through these pages so you guys can see a little bit of the artwork, a little bit of what you can get in this book. You get a lot of love me some jungle, the like guerrilla warfare jungle Cadians and stuff, or Catachan, excuse me. I don't remember if they have the Death Corps of Krieg in here. Oh yeah, Warzone Catachan, baby. Mechanized infantry. Here we go. Death Corps of Krieg. Yes, sir. They have got to have some of the coolest uniforms in 40K. Oh, Sabbath World Crusade. I've been listening to my Gaunt's Ghosts, baby. Sabbath World Crusade is going to be so dope. Arch is making a video about it. It's going to take him a few months. I would say at least 6 months. But that Sabbath World Crusade one is going to be fucking so dope, man. I love me so... Here's the thing. A lot of people will get angry at me for this, but I think Sabbath World Crusade Omnibus and the Sabbath Worlds and like the Gaunt's Ghost books may be superior to the Horus Heresy. Change my mind. changed my mind. I know those are fighting words. Those might be fighting words. But Josh, I'm going to be coming to Dallas Fan Expo in June. At least I believe it's going to be June. At least that's the plan. So if that's the case, I'd love to see you there, man. And if that's also the case, I would love to go to a Games Workshop and get you started on some Warhammer stuff, because I think you would enjoy it. Yeah, Christian, right? Warhammer does look badass. So like I said, they give you some lore, and then they also give you some fantastic models in here, what you can essentially expect to see. The Imperial Guard, so full transparency, I've never actually collected Imperial Guard before. I've always stuck to the armies that I've collected have been Beasts of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness, Tyranids, Necrons, Blood Angels, Black Templars, Space Wolves. I think that's it. So I've never actually purchased or built an Imperial Guard figure before. However, a lot of this is super cool because it's reminiscent of like Marine Corps shit. So I'm looking at a lot of these types of infantry, artillery, machine gun emplacements. I'm looking at all these different models and I'm like, this had to have been created by someone who's obviously been in the military, because so many of these things look like what we used. So I think it's really cool to actually build stuff that looks like, war accurate. But like it looks like it's something that it's got verisimilitude, if you will. It has that verisimilitude to it where you look at this and you go, even though it's in a 41st millennium, even though it's 40,000 years into the future, you can see how it evolved from, military tactics or military mechanized vehicles or warfare or weapons. So, according to the interwebs, the current market capitalization of Games Workshop Group is $3.72 billion, 90% of which is driven by their paint. By their paint? Their Citadel paints? Really, Harley? That is hard to believe, man. I would think it would be their models by far. But thank you for the information. Cajun, I hope there's a meetup in Dallas. That would be so dope. At least that's what we tried. That's what we did last year, and it was probably one of the most fun parts of 2022, in my opinion. Jay, okay, I'm glad that you agree. I have not read all the Inquisition novels, but I could see that Commissar Ibram Gaunt would have a very hard time competing against the Inquisition novels. June, cool. I need to look into it and make sure I'm free for more than a day this time. You bet your ass you better be more than free for just a day, Josh. I want to hang out with you for like a weekend or a week or something, but I understand that you're fully busy at work, man. I know you've been super busy, so I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me tonight. Hanging out with us. Yeah, beautiful pictures, beautiful models. Now we get into more of the rule book, detachments, combat patrols, and then we get into strategies, and then I think we get into the characters and the warlords and stuff like that a little bit later. But yeah, here we go, yeah. So here are the actual, like your infantry, your Cadian shock troops, and their point values, their strengths, weaknesses, all that good stuff, ballistic skill. So that's some of the new models that I've picked up, or at least this is the codex for those new models that I'm going to be looking into and building. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I've never built Imperial Guard or played them or anything, but I figured, hey, why not? This is the perfect time to do so. I've been really digging the Sabbat Worlds Crusades. I've really been enjoying the Tanith First and Only. I've really been enjoying Gaunt's Ghost stuff, and so I was like, okay, this is a perfect time to really get into Imperial Guard. So, yeah. Burn it to the ground. Absolutely, Christian. We should hang out sometime. That would be a lot of fun, man. We'll do it soon, I promise. So here's the next thing I wanted to discuss. So Comixology is a subsidiary. Is that what you'd call it? A subsidiary? I don't know. It's part of Amazon. I'm trying to sound all intellectual. It's part of Amazon. However, this is another tragic news story within the comic book industry, which we've seen. Comixology releases majority of workers as part of Amazon layoffs. On January 18th, Amazon sent a letter out to their employees informing them of significant layoffs planned as part of their response to the economic, according to documents released, role reductions. So, Comixology is for those of you who don't know, is a digital one-stop shop for comic books of Marvel, DC, indie. It doesn't have crowdfunding on there. Subsidiary. And so with that being said, Comixology has had a significant amount of people, especially like you get someone like Wakizashi's Tea House, Gray, or you get someone like Wes from Thinking Critical, who live in the Philippines or who live in Japan, who don't have an accessible comic shop near them. So they use Comixology. It's a great way of buying and reading your books through digital. Marvel and DC have failed to do a good job of transferring a lot of their stuff into the digital market. They do have these little like webtoon type series of comic books and stuff, but it's not a huge draw. It's not been selling a ton. It's not been doing as well as they'd hoped. And then Marvel also has like Marvel Unlimited, or their like phone app where you can read comics and stuff. But Comixology was the main focus of digital comic books. And then they changed I think it was their hardware, their software or something, but their interface to read comic books was near impossible, to where people left the Comixology app altogether. They stopped reading those books on Comixology because it was an impossible task. It was like reading a PDF that was missing pages and that you could only flip to like certain panels or certain pages. It was awful. You couldn't zoom in and stuff like that. The thing with Comixology is then once they fixed that interface and people could start reading comic books again, it was already too late. People had already left the application. People had already left the platform. People can now move on to reading comics for free, sailing the 7 seas, and it's way easier to read them because you're just scrolling and you can zoom in and do all that stuff. It's fantastic. Not that I've ever done it or anything. Josh says, I've got about 4 million books through Comixology. I'm going to need Comixology to stick around. Oh my God. 4 million, my Lord. Oh my God. Yes, it was morphing into Kindle. Thank you, Josh. But with that being said, this is kind of another hit to the industry. I feel like, not the fact that and it's not one of those things where it's like Comixology is dying. It's like, no. Let's be realistic. There's going to be a lot of layoffs, but I hope that the individuals who have been making the platform a good place, I hope that they can stick around. But it's part of a larger overall problem. Okay, thanks, Josh. Thanks for changing that. I was about to say 4 million. I don't think 4 million have been ever. No. That's not true. X-Men alone has published 4 million books. But yes, even still, 4,000. Yeah, you need 4,000 of your comic books. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a no bueno if 4,000 of those books that you've bought go away. So I think that this is just something of a larger. This is one small piece of a larger picture, which is essentially that the comic industry is not in a good place. Not to say that, oh, the comic industry is dying, it's gonna die tomorrow or whatever. But it's not healthy. And that's what's so frustrating, is that a lot of people will look at these articles and they'll see Comixology releases majority of workers as part of Amazon layoffs. And you'll get two consensuses, you'll get people going, Comixology is dead and comic books are dying. But then you'll get the other people who are like, comics are booming, comics are great, Comixology is going to be the new platform for digital comics, everyone go over, blah, blah. So I think there needs to be a realistic conversation made within comic books right now that is essentially comics aren't selling well. Marvel Comics didn't sell over 80, like the highest selling book last month didn't even make it past 80,000 copies sold, which normally you should be on average selling about like 100,000 copies sold for especially if it's a Marvel book, like books that are making 10,000 copies sold are books that now do well, whereas like in the 90s would get canceled after their first like run. It's definitely the copies sold have gone down. The story quality has gone down. The artists, the writers, the creators in general, the editors, the higher ups, these individuals, I don't feel like have the same passion that they used to or that they've ever had. I'm not sure. But like I said, I think this needs to be a discussion that needs to be legitimately had, and it needs to be had with a lot of respect and reverence towards comic books. But it can't be had if people are just constantly saying, oh, fuck, I want fucking Marvel and DC to die. Fuck, well, comic books are gonna die. Yeah, let's all. No. But then on the flip side of that, we can't have people saying, comics have never been better. Comics are outselling everything. This is the best year of comics, and that's probably. That is the most disingenuous argument in the comic book industry right now. Is the side of individuals who say comics have never been better. They're booming. We've never had sales like this before in our lifetime. It is extremely inaccurate. It is folly. It is a fallacy. It is disingenuous to say that when you know that all around you, comic shops are closing. Digital comics aren't selling. Regular floppies aren't selling. Sorry, I was reading the chat real quick. What was the other thing? Creators are continuing to continue to polarize and dehumanize people through platforms like Twitter. Creators aren't getting paid. Comic book companies are actually going bankrupt. Creators are going bankrupt because they can't afford a laptop, they can't afford food, they can't afford healthcare or dentistry. You'll see them on Twitter or Instagram starting GoFundMes. Like, these are not signs of a healthy market. If, like, in what world do all these things, and most people I feel like would say, oh, well, it's just like it's just the COVID, it was due to the unknown virus or the virus of unknown origin or whatever. It's just due to that. We're going to get back to what we need to. And it's like, we have been out of that for quite a while now. We should be on the upslope of that now. And we're not seeing that. We're actually seeing it go down immensely. Like I said, comic shops are closing every single day. Comic sales are going down. Marvel especially has not been selling well. And if Marvel isn't selling well, there's something going on. There's something wrong. We're not getting new creators into the hobby. We're not getting new creators into the mix. and the ones that aren't comic book writers or creators, they're screenwriters from Hollywood. Like, there's so many different things that are going on within the comic book industry, and it's not to be negative, it's to be critical. And critical doesn't mean negative. Critical means that you are criticizing a thing for what it is. You know what I mean? I feel like it can be something that's objective, where you can point to statistics, or you can point to something and say, these are the things that we're noticing, these are the things that are happening, and there needs to be something done. And so if we don't have an understanding or a compassionate discussion about what is going on in comic books, then I don't think comics will get better. And we'll be at a crossroads at that point to say, well, fuck, what do we do now? And we have to save it before it gets there. Josh says, I wouldn't even consider them writers. Got him. Yeah, no, you're right, though. You're right. So with that being said, this is really tough to be in this industry right now, or watch this industry kind of implode in on itself and not have a solution to fix itself. And the solutions that it's trying to, or the things that it's trying to, or the solutions that are being implemented that they're trying to solve for a lot of these, like, lesser sales or poor writing, poor art, they're doing it in the completely wrong way. They're taking the wrong lessons from their losses. And I think that has to do a lot with higher ups in editorial, not so much as like writers and stuff. But Monopoly, what up, dude? He says, when Amazon made it so you couldn't buy comics through the app on iOS and eventually Android, is when the platform took a sharp nosedive, and that was trash books. And that with trash books and with Horde new readers killed it, yeah. I'm meeting the Gilkman for mini meetup. Hey, nice, Eric. That sounds so fun, man. Say Thomas, or say hello to Thomas for me. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. That'll be super fun. That'll be awesome. I stopped reading comics years ago. They're purposely not made for someone like me. And Raziel, I don't, I can't argue with your logic there, because there are a lot of books that I read and I go, this was not meant for me. This was not meant to be read by my audience, by people who look like me, think like me, act like me. This book is not, it's just not, it's, you know. And what's funny is that those writers, those individuals who write those books will say, you know, oh, comics are for everyone. And it's like, well, obviously they're not, because you are writing to a particular niche audience that you are trying to inherit. And where's the money? Where's the money from that audience? We're not getting that. So yeah, so I can't argue with that there. 3 fucks and 1 Maxons. Oh yeah, in the 90s, 3,000 was the cancel line. Now it's less than 10,000, and even then some stick around. Dude, Josh, that's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, I'm hearing comic books that are being sold for, 10,000 copies, and they're sticking around for a while. And 30,000 was the cancel line? Damn, savage. Putting politics and attacking fans don't bring customers. Great point, Soul. Great point. But see, that's the thing. Like we were talking about earlier in the stream, a lot of people will come in and say, well, politics have always been in comic books. That's the argument. And the thing with that is that, yes, you could point to a lot of different comic books and say, yes, there is social commentary. There is nuance. There are underlying themes. There is subjectivity. There is a lot of different things within this comic book, not just one political message shoving it down your throat. Those are two separate things. Good writers are able to put a political message within the book and still have the book be about the character, or be about the theme, or be about the story overall, but still, have some sort of underlying message within that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of comics have done that for a long time. But to say that, like, oh, comics have always been political, the statement is a perfect argument of straw manning someone into then having to defend yourself in saying, well, there are comics that, what we're trying to say is that comic books now are only showing one side of the aisle. And when they do show one side of the aisle or lean more towards one side of the political aisle, it is done in such a ham-fisted, lazy, and talentless way that that's why we get upset, is that there's no actual talent or creativity in some of these stories. Ann Nocenti is a great example. Ann Nocenti's Daredevil run, a lot of her themes were more left-leaning. Ann Nocenti's Daredevil run is still one of my favorite Daredevil runs to date. It has nothing to do with the leftist politics that she believes in, but it's because those stories are so fucking good. I love those Daredevil comics. I'm obsessed with them. They are the quintessential Marvel books that I love reading. And so that's a great example of how you can do it in a well-written way and not have to be so ham-fisted and trying to subvert expectations or decompress storylines or dissect heroes and just completely what's the word I'm looking for? It's what like Watchmen did. It's what a lot of these hero stories are doing now to a lot of our classic superheroes. Deconstruct. That's the word I was looking for. Bandy to Bane. What's going on? Thank you for being here. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Bandito Bane. That's what it is. Okay, sorry. That's another Monopoly thing. Bandito Bane. He says, I started getting into Warhammer because I can't even read a comic book with all the real-world issues beating you over the head. In the Warhammer universe, you fight and survive or curl up and die. Well said, Bandito Bane. So the thing with Warhammer is that however you want to interpret Warhammer is how you interpret it. And yet the main overarching theme of the Warhammer 40k universe is the grim darkness of this satirically violent, over-the-top culture of just war and death and killing and darkness and survival. And it's brilliant how they portrayed it and how it's written. And people will come outside of the hobby and they will try and impart their own stuff into it, and they will try and force you to think that way as well. They'll have this fan fiction and they'll go well, no, that's what you have to think as well. And don't let them do that. Just enjoy Warhammer for what it is, man. If you like Warhammer because it's violent and aggressive and survival of the fittest and grimdark, that's how it's fucking supposed to be, man. That's how those books are written, and that's why I love it so much. And a lot of the writers come from military backgrounds. These are historians, war historians, and so they write war stories. That's why I love this stuff so much. So, yeah, continue to enjoy Warhammer, brother, and I or sister, because that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be that, and that's what comics have always meant to be too. At least that's what comics should be meant for, is to enjoy why you love comic books. For me, I love the moralistic values that superheroes bring to comic books, and now moralistic values have kind of been skewed. They've been off kilter as of late. And so it's tough to get into that, man. So I totally understand what you're saying. I had to rip a comic book, what was it, a week or two ago, because I was so angry with the messaging in it that basically just flat out told me that you're the enemy, you're the problem, you're white, you're oppressive, you're patriarchal, you're misogynistic, you're a sexist, you're a bigot. And I was like, why am I reading this comic book if it just hates me for literally existing? Why am I reading this comic book? And that's what's scary about picking up a comic book every week, is sometimes Bandito Bane says, I'm a dude. All right, cool. Thanks, dude. But yeah, I'll pick up a comic book and I'll go, this looks kind of cool. And I'll flip through it and I'll go, nice. All right, I'll check it out. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, good. Just another one that I can throw in the trash, you know? And that's $4 that you're spending. And so yeah, you really got to be careful with what you're buying, because if you're trying to escape from the real worldness or whatever, yeah, it's tough to escape that, man, especially when stuff is so polarizing and dehumanizing nowadays. Jay says, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and war comes for everyone equally. Yes, that is very true. It's the ultimate inclusive universe. It's complete. It is the most inclusive universe ever that could ever exist, because everyone will die, because everyone will be subject to death and decay and suffering. That's why it's so wild. People are probably listening to me for the first time and they're like, geez, this guy's dark. Like, dude, are you okay? Do you need a hug? Wish I could be there too, Rev. Busy with the job hunt. Oh, looking for jobs, Rachel. By the way, welcome into the chat. Great to see you as always. Phil, Kelly sucks though. They better keep him the hell away from my Dark Angels. I haven't read Phil Kelly's stuff, unfortunately. I've been a 40K fan and player for a long time. I got into it because of what it is, no other reason. Exactly, man. That's why we all get into these hobbies that we love, is because of what it presents itself as. Hey, my buddy. Oh, I lost it. Monopoly's laughing at me because I can't pronounce people's names. Let's see. Man, I missed a lot of you guys. Let's see. Comixology sounds like a weird dating app for alcoholics. I don't buy or read American comics anymore unless I have a recommendation for someone I trust. Otherwise, I stick to British or French comics. Well said. I think every now and then you can find a diamond in the rough for American comics, and that's the thing, is like once you get a recommendation from someone, you can go pick it up. It's all about word of mouth. Man, my scroller is just going nuts on me. Just don't read Anne's Catwoman. Her Daredevil, excellent. Catwoman, it was the start of a garbage age we're in now. Oh no! Dang, that sucks, dude. But yeah, no, that's, I mean, I can see that, Josh. Absolutely. I can totally see where that happens. There's too much to say about it for me even to chat. Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Max, say something in French. Croissant? Oui, oui. Does that work? Bandito Bane says, and more girls will get into it as well because Cavill is doing a show. Noob Reviews and Heron of Alexandria are on that train. Bandito Bane, I mean, there are going to be a lot of people that get into Warhammer because of Henry Cavill. It's going to be those who actually want to respect it for what it is, and enjoy it. And like, I don't want to say the term fake geek girl, you know what I mean? But like, there are a lot of individuals who want to hop on a bandwagon just because it's fucking cool. We saw it with Marvel, we saw it with DC, we saw it with all the superhero films, and look now what's going on. We get shows like She-Hulk that are just fucking pathetic. And those are a bunch of fucking fake geek girls that have completely collapsed a fucking industry. So if people want to get into it, great. I welcome them into the hobby, but if it's going to be a bunch of, like I said, fake fake tourists, then they can find something else. I lost both the courses I was supposed to teach this semester, so a week before it would have started, I'm suddenly, oh no, Dr. Rachel, I'm so sorry. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Max can pronounce my name, presumably. John Baker. or should I say John Baker? I should say something weird for everyone's name. I mean, oh God, my scroller has been awful tonight. You know who is a fake geek girl? Tina, and Tina loves you. Tina arguably, wait. Tina arguably is a fake geek girl. She's definitely a fake geek. That last part is that's an argument to be had. Christian says, say something in Italian. I say, ooh, buongiorno, buonanotte, and buonasera. Those are all some of my favorites. It's basically good morning, good afternoon, good night. Many girls may try it out, but as a 30-year-old veteran, trust me, only a few will stick. That's the thing, Jay, is like, the hobby is for everyone, but not everyone will like it, and that's okay. I've said it 1,000 times, and like, hobbies can be for everyone, but not everyone is going to enjoy it, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like Barbies. Like, Barbie dolls are for everyone because they've got Ken figures, they've got Barbie figures, but I would never want to collect Barbies. I'm just not interested, and that's okay. That's totally fine. People should be happy with that. Why does everything have to? The thing is it becomes a male and female, inclusivity, exclusivity thing. And that's where the struggle is, right? So, I would love to see whoever wants to be in the hobby, whoever wants to respect it. I love it. That's great. But we have to look at the statistics. And as a businessman, you have to look at your demographic and your marketing. And if you look at your demographic for Warhammer specifically, it has mainly been 90, I would even say 95% men. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not because they've gate kept it from women. It's because women who don't understand the lore, and Jay, I'm not talking about you, or I'm not talking about individuals, females who love the Warhammer stuff. But for most ditzy females who are just like not into superheroes or not into Warhammer, they're not going to get it, and that's okay. Like, they don't need to. They don't need to be, a master painter or a master hobbyist. Like, if they don't like it, that's totally fine. A lot of women that I've introduced to the hobby, their eyes just glaze over and they're like, what is this? What is your fucking fake, or what is your nerd shit? Like, what are these toy little figures? I don't care about that. At least that's my experience. And that's okay. They don't need to enjoy it. Hobbies can be for everyone, but when you start doing a dating drama in the high class section of a hive world that never sees a fight scene in a universe of war, you lost the point. You blew it. Believe me, GW know who their customers are. They also love making money. I would sure hope so, Jay. I mean, I know that GW loves making money because they mark up everything. The Imperial Guard box that was like $200. Of course, it's, they love making money because they know that us GW fans are going to purchase that stuff, especially when it comes to limited edition box sets and limited edition books. They have my money, unfortunately. Yeah. Who are you calling a gag, O'Sullivan? If you had to choose, what is your favorite Italian dish? That's a good question, Christian. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Josh, yeah, there are going to be a lot of different people who are wondering who Tina is. Tina's my favorite. Only comic I'm buying are back issues in those epic collections. Those are good ones, Soul. You can't go wrong with buying back issues, brother. Cannot go wrong with that. I still don't understand Warhammer, says Ash. And that's okay, Ash. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you want to know more about it, there are plenty of like lore channels, and I would love to help you out with some of that, and like books that you can read. But yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing, like, there are guys that I know who, like, I have no idea what Warhammer is, nor do I care to learn more about it, Writers sometimes make great stuff despite being kind of awful people. And then there's Frank Miller, All-Star Batman and Robin was unforgivable. Sorry if I missed some of your guys' chat. You guys were scrolling on me. Old Warhammer 40k fan now. It's alarming how many hardcore fake fans they've built up. They want to push it hard left if they can. So the thing with that is Rizal is like, you know, like Jay said, is Games Workshop wants to make money. They are a business first and foremost. That is their most important factor, is like they want to be a business. And if that's the case, they want to make money for that business, and the best way for them to do that is by... Why do you think we always see Ultramarines? Why do we see the big blue Boy Scouts, the Smurfs, the Blueberries, whatever you want to call them? Because they are the most appealing. They are the most generic, sure, but they're the most appealing to a broader audience. So like when you know, as a young little, you know, 10-year-old, and you walk past a Games Workshop and you see this hulking blue figure that looks like a Roman centurion in blue power armor, you're going to go, whoa, what the fuck is that thing? That looks cool, right? And so they're going to play to that they know that those Space Marines are going to bring in more of an audience and that it's going to bring in more money. And so I don't know how they would be able to play to kind of a more politicized ideology and still try and make money. I don't know. Templin Institute, that made some good Warhammer lore videos. Soul, he may have made some good ones in the past. His most recent one was absolute dog shit, because it's his own headcanon, I guess, now that is like what he believes in. So I wouldn't take any, you know, too much value into some of those, but I won't tell you who or what to watch, but I would just say I have not been a fan of his stuff. Not even Henry Cavill can make Warhammer sexy for most women, not beyond the first 2 episodes. I need to find a really bad wig, and yes, you do need to do some Tina vids, Josh. You should make an entire YouTube channel just based off of Tina. Love your hoodie. I'm listening to the first... you scrolled on me. Oh, thanks, Bandito Bane. Yeah, it's a dope hoodie, hey? It says, pain is temporary, honor is forever. I wish that it wasn't Cadia. I wish it was... Gon's Ghost. I wish it was the Tanith first and only, but that's all right. Yeah, listening to Dan Abnett's Sophia's Kane book. Also, Rest in Power, Commissar Yarrick. Angron, you fucked up because Gazkul will come for you. Yeah, but the GW is also British. The culture is that company is not immune to infiltrators and social media pressure fallacies. Poor Templin, while failing at their prime. Shoot, where did that... I thought I saw something earlier. Oh, here it is. Fake fans are the worst. If you don't like a hobby, that's totally okay, and you can find one that you enjoy. Absolutely agree. But don't jump into the shallows of a hobby and immediately shout, "Shark!" Yeah, that's the thing, Rachel. Is like once individuals began to come into a hobby and they say like, oh, well, that like this is inherently wrong with the hobby, then you don't like it. If you believe that there's something inherently wrong with the hobby itself that is the core aspect of what the hobby is, then you don't like what the hobby is, so leave. It's not for you then. Like it's like if I were to... I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. I don't know about it. I don't really know how to play. I don't really know about the lore. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. So it's like if I were to start playing Dungeons and Dragons and I was like, why are there no Marine Corps figures in here? Why are there no Marine Corps role-playing opportunities? Fuck Dungeons and Dragons. I want more Marine Corps representation in here. Or something like, I don't know. I'm just making something up. Obviously, I can find that within Warhammer, because Warhammer presents some Marine Corps opportunities for me, like the Space Marines or the Imperial Guard, so I would go there. But Dungeons and Dragons is more fantasy-based, so like, I would probably leave that hobby, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But why would I stay and just completely, or continue to complain and go, The Dungeons and Dragons doesn't have what I want. Okay, then leave. Go do something else. If you think that it's wrong or if you think that it's bad inherently, if there's something incorrect with it, then you don't need to be there. Like there are so many other opportunities. And so now I will try and be empathetic in terms of like, there are individuals who only want to play Warhammer and they feel like they don't have the armies that they want to play. And that sucks. That does suck. And that is frustrating. Like, I'm trying to think of like, if there were like the equivalent to the Sisters of Battle would be the Black Templars, I feel like. But if there were no Black Templars, that would suck because I really like them as a faction. So I would be like, man, that kind of sucks. But there's so many other amazing different armies that I can play those as well and still be within Warhammer 40k. There's not just one thing that I have to adhere to or like, be behind. So I think that's just very British Marine Corps, though. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a very British or more UK Marine Corps for sure. If you have a problem with the core of a hobby, just leave instead of staying and trying to change it. And even when they do change it, they will leave anyway. Well, that's the thing too, Rachel, is like they're not actually putting a lot of their money into this stuff. The stream doesn't have something I want. Silkies. Oh, Josh, don't even get me started on Silkies. Dude, we haven't seen Silkies in like a year maybe. Yeah. Or maybe 6 months. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. So if you don't see Silkies, Josh, you can just leave the stream. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't leave. Inherently, the game world of D&D are not safe spaces. Safe spaces with a little trademark. Yeah. Cosplay Marine Corps, Stolen Valor. Yeah. Looks like Jacob's got to head out. Thanks, man. Good to see you, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. MVP will roll a dice for a Marine summoning spell. That would be cool. Those fucking scrollers, get off this lawn. Yeah, don't watch Templin, watch Baltimore. Oh, Baltimore is one of my favorites, dude. He's got a god tier level voice. Wolf Lord Rowe and Major Kill for a laugh. Major Kill has some good stuff. Anyone could be anybody under that Warhammer 40k battlesuits. Doesn't that matter? Doesn't that matter, or does that matter? What is this elevator music? I'm going to change the stream real quick. There we go. Exude good. Yeah, I think she had to dip out, unfortunately. Josh is just a servant of the people. 40k does need Silkies. That would be a great addition to the Warhammer 40k universe. They just want the power. I think that is a good summary of some of the individuals. If you have a space that doesn't conform to their ideology, it must be attacked until it bends the knee. I play the all-male Grey Knights because I have an imagination, but also Sisters of Battle because that's how I started. Marine Corps dice would have how many sides? It would, oh god, that's a good question. How many sides would a Marine Corps die have? It would have 6, but on the 6th spot, it would have 7 dots because it wouldn't be able to count. How about that? So here's, let's see. Okay, I'll give you guys, oh god, we're already into an hour and 45 minutes. And I did not even cover 3 of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Let's do... Oh, this is tough. It feels like we need to produce a Paris Island Space Marine training. Okay, I'll give you guys the option. Do you guys want to talk about man caves? So I have a video here of this guy discussing man caves and how they are, how they're like beta male, how man caves are like super fucking beta from this alpha male, sigma male entrepreneur. So, oh, that's a good one, Dave. I like that. Wrong. Crayons don't have sides. So yeah, I'll give you guys the option. Do you want the man cave from a self-made entrepreneur, or do you want the Joey Swole take on this woman who's becoming famous right now for TikTok? If you guys remember, yes, Rizal, I already spoke about Crowder towards the beginning of the stream. Oh shoot, it's late for you, man. Thanks for coming here, Cajun. Always good seeing you, brother, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. So I think, a while ago, I think a couple months back, I introduced you guys to the world of fitness Instagram TikTokers, where these females were going into the gyms and they were recording themselves, and then they were taking advantage of the, men around them that were in the gym that were, that might like slightly look over or, help them with their weights or something. And these women will say like, oh, this man assaulted me, or, oh, this man was being a creep, or like whatever. Okay. It looks like most people want to say man cave. But yeah, essentially the video was this woman who's like trying to get clout on TikTok, from the gym. And it makes me never want to be in a gym with women ever again. As misogynistic as that sounds, I hate to say that, but women like that are like the reason why guys hate going to the gym. When you just get a bunch of TikTok influencers, Zoomers that only want to strawman you and make you out to be this like sexist pig or whatever. So we won't discuss that. We'll go into the, we'll talk about the man caves. Yeah. Why give her any more, validity than she needs? She's already gotten lambasted over TikTok, and I think she even deleted her comment section or like whatever, because it was just everyone was like, you're a fucking idiot. And the poor guy was like, he probably gets called out for doing nothing. All right, so I'm going to raise the volume on this guy. All right, let me know if you can hear this.
Gentlemen, we need to have a talk about the man cave. The man cave, well, let's explain what the man cave is, because I know that we get people around the world to watch this stuff now. The man cave is essentially a place in a man...
So far, can you guys hear that okay? Is that... Oh yeah, Harley, that's why home gym is essential. Give me either like a 1 or a thumbs up or a, yeah, it's good if you guys can hear the video from Entrepreneurs in Cars, sorry, excuse me. in car, no plural, just in a car. Okay, thanks, Josh.
Man's house that his partner, wife, whoever he's cohabitating with, allows him to keep in whatever state he wants.
So already he says that the Fat Fox is Jack Murphy. Yeah, a little bit of Jack Murphy vibes. The sad thing is that like I feel like I'm gonna look like this guy in 20 years. I feel like this is going to be my look in 10, 20 years. So I hope that's not the case. I hope I look a little bit different, but I already have the shaved head. I already have the beard. I don't know. Oh shoot, Bandito Bane. Sorry to hear that. God bless, brother. Hope everything is okay, and enjoy the rest of your night. But thank you for being here. So one of the things that he says at the start of the video is he goes that your partner allows you to have. I think that's what the phrase was.
To keep in whatever state he wants. His wife, whoever he's cohabitating with, allows him to keep in whatever state he wants.
Allows him to keep. When he started Gentlemen, We Need to Talk, I immediately got beta. Yeah, LA Fitness. Oh man, you guys are roasting and he hasn't even said anything. So one of the things that I noticed is that he said that they allow you to have. So in my opinion, so like this is my man cave, right? We're in the Max's Man Cave live stream. This is my man cave. I don't live with anyone else. It's just me and Gideon, who's my pet. I'm cohabitating. You know what? Let's just say he runs the house, but this is my man cave or whatever. But the man cave is something that I feel like you and your like say I had a wife and I was discussing the man cave with her and I said, "Hey, babe, do you think it'd be cool if, let's say we make the basement like my man cave and it can also be like our movie theater night something or oh, sorry, you got to go, Christian, but thank you for being here, brother, and have a great rest of the night. Have a good rest of the week as well." It is going to be you later. I hate to say it. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. I thought you said see you later. Never mind, Christian. So yeah, I guess the whole place is my man cave, Eric? But if I have a wife and we discuss like, oh yeah, let's have a man cave for the house, I think that'd be great. I would honestly probably rather that be the case, because then it gives her an opportunity to have parts of the house that like she can rest and relax in, and parts of the house that I can rest and relax in, and kind of get a way to escape. Because I think it would be folly to say that you have to be with your partner every single hour of every waking moment, because you guys would kill each other. Even if you loved each other immensely, unconditionally, at some point in time, you would want to be at each other's throats. So I don't necessarily think it's something that, oh, I let you have the man cave, because that's super manipulative. It's like, well, I let you have the man cave, so you need to buy me a car. It's like, we both agreed on a man cave. Like, that's how I think the conversation should be. But let's keep going. This is the man cave that Gideon allows you to. Yeah, exactly, Rachel. Gideon allows me to have this portion of the house. He keeps the bedroom. Let me guess, either new Mustang or vet. I mean, if you want a trad wife and she's the home managing the home as the family nest, she has some ownership of the home. The man should have a space of his own without judgment. And we're about to get into that in just a second, Monopoly. Or Monopoly, however you'd like it. Thanks, Christian. I appreciate it. Love your man cave. It is badass. Thanks, dude. The man cave is just an evolution one once would have called a den or a study. That's a great point as well, that a man cave could technically be a man's study or office, depending on, what you would want to call it. This guy's doing the Andrew Tate hand thing. Oh, is it where you do this? We need to talk. Women have a sewing craft room. Oh yeah, men have a man cave. Yeah, there you go. My husband's man cave and my workshop. There you go. This is why I just gesticulate in my content. Let's see. I think I got everyone.
It's usually in a dark, dingy corner of the basement, maybe the garage, could potentially be the attic.
Garage, attic, or basement. I know Gary's studio is in the attic. I know the classic cliche, like, oh, you living in your mom's basement type of thing. But Gem Mint Collectibles, he's got a basement that looks amazing. That is his YouTube studio. And a garage, like, I don't know. I feel like that one might be a little like, that would suck. But attic or basement, I would be thrilled to have either one of those as a man cave. Josh says, your wife is going to end up decorating most of the house realistically. You may have some input, but it will be mostly her. She probably wants you to have your man cave, so your stuff is tucked away. Josh, you and I, hold on. Let me do this. You and I are like this. You and I are eye to eye, dude. I'll mention this later in the video. But one of the things is that I was going to say is that my wife, hopefully in the future, is most likely going to know more about our interior design and color coordination than I ever will. And I would hope and I would pray and I would love it actually if she decorated the house, because I would probably do a fucked up job of trying to decorate a house. it would be miserable for me to try and put a house together, because it would just be a bunch of comic book shit, or like, you know, it would be man cave stuff. So if she decorates the house in a beautiful, ornate way that like is very, you know, nicely put together and well done, I would love it if she did that. And I hope that she does, because she probably has a better understanding of interior design, right? So that's the thing, man, is like, Josh, where did your comment go? Yeah, so she is going to most likely end up decorating the house. Now, if that's the case, that's her space, that's my space as well, but she probably wants me to go fuck off somewhere in my basement so I can have all my cool shit around me and not have to put it anywhere in the house. Because if I put my Superman statue in the middle of our living room, I don't think that's going to be an ideal situation. But if she's like, hey, you can go fuck off in the basement and go put it down there, I would be like, hell yeah, okay, sweet. Like, I'm going to go put all my stuff down here in the basement or in the attic, and it's going to look dope. And that way the house looks nice, presentable, and I can still have a space to myself. So yeah, like you said, Josh, she probably wants you to have that area for yourself so that you both can have those separate spaces in order to have some isolation or some alone time if you need it. Don't understand the concept of acreage. I'll build an entire new fucking building just for a man cave. That would be cool too. Josh Whedon vibes. I think your garage is a good man cave if you do a lot of larger crafts or car maintenance. That's a good call, actually, Rachel. I'm thinking of more like comic book man caves, but if you're talking about like a mechanic, absolutely. Garage is like the perfect, or like a welder. I know one of my friends is a welder, and his garage is his fucking sanctuary, right? Like welding, woodwork, sculpting, all that stuff is perfect for garage man cave. So let us continue. I fully support men having an area for themselves, says Nomi.
And the general theme behind many of these man caves is they're allowed, or they're granted permission in their own home to store their stuff, their manly things. And
granted permission, like I said, I know you said this earlier. If you're in a healthy relationship, I don't think you would ever be granted permission, and I think it would almost actually be beneficial for you guys to have different spaces. But yeah, we already kind of covered that.
That one area kind of away from the majority of the traffic that travels through the house. Now, here's the problem with the man cave, fellas. I know that a lot of guys proudly, share them. I've seen, friends of mine that I haven't seen in a while that have been married now, and look at my new...
I mean, I proudly share my man cave with you guys. Right? That's what we're doing right now. Max's man cave.
Man cave, and they'll put a picture on Facebook or something like that. But here's the problem that I've got to stress.
I also think that like by kind of promoting your man cave, and by showing it to other people, you're proud of that, right? Like it's like a piece of work or a piece of art for you. Like when I put all these statues up and I have this type of, I put the comic books up and I put the posters up, I wanted it to be a certain way so it could fit within the camera, so that it could present a certain way. So like putting it in, having the interior design and having that type of architecture and structure for how I wanted to lay everything out, that in itself was an art form, was a project for me. And so I wanted to share that and be like, look at how cool this is. This looks great. At least I hope it does. And if that's the case, why not share that with something that you're proud of? I don't think you have to be relegated to the basement to do that. You can do that in anywhere, like anywhere that you're at. But it happens to be most of the time basements or attics or garages, because that's where you can do a lot of your work and put some of this stuff together. So I don't think there's anything wrong with promoting your stuff and being proud of that. Who wants to bet this dude doesn't even work out at LA Fitness, and does his shirt have thumb holes? Yes, it does, Josh. It does.
With them is your house is your castle, fellas. A man's house is his castle. I know there's going to be women out there and feminized, boys and stuff like that. They're going to be, well, in the world of equality, women, buy as much of the house as men. No, it's not. That's not the way that it happens. I'm in the credit and collection business. I've seen.
So he says that men, the home is your castle. And I think that in a committed relationship with a woman, I think that castle can be for both of you. Like the king and queen reside in the castle. It is their homestead. It is their castle. If the man pays for the home, then yes, that is his home, but you reside in that home together. So you can make a compromise, a loving compromise as a loving couple, and still be able to say, hey, babe, I am going to have a man cave, and that's just kind of that, because I bought this house and I want this portion to be the man cave, and we can kind of compromise and see what we can do. But for the most part, like if we're talking about this guy's argument about I've bought the house, so this is my castle, then yeah, I'm sure you could probably set up something with your wife or your significant other, your partner, whoever it is, to say, I've bought the house. This is technically in my name, but it's ours because I love you and I want to be in this house with you and raise kids with you or whatever it is. But I do want a space for myself. So I think that there is a compromise. I don't think it needs to be a source of like emasculation, because I don't think having a man cave is actually effeminate. Like I think it's actually very masculine to have a place to yourself, to seclude yourself to, and say, listen, I don't want to have to deal with anything right now. I need to go be alone for a little bit. And that's kind of a power move. I think, I don't know. Not a power move, but it's just, it is, what's the right term that I'm thinking of? Because it's not like you're trying to assert dominance on your wife and be like, oh, well, F you, I'm going to go to the basement or whatever. It's more of, I need some isolation and some time to myself. And so I need to go, I need to be away from this place for a little bit, and I will come back when I'm ready. And I think that takes a lot of confidence from your wife and a lot of trust from your wife as well. So I don't think it's like emasculating to be able to do that. I don't know. It's a man's castle, but it's the woman's nest. The thing about partnerships is sharing and being able to also have your space. I'm going to make a sign saying, "A old man cave, ye old man cave," and hang it just spite to this guy. He needs a room for his tiny Rachel says, the man has his castle. He tried to be based just now, but failed. This guy is finally coming to terms with the divergence of logic and marital expectations in a world of modernity in California. Oh, look at this. We've got Christian Anderson. Thanks, dude. Oh, hold on. For $4.99, pair character lifting some weight saying, keep it up. Oh, thanks, Christian. I appreciated that, dude. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. And for that, I will give you this. Noise. Thanks again, Christian. So yeah, Jay says, the guys hang out in my husband's man cave. I'm free to join them or hang out elsewhere if I want. Peace and quiet. That's a great, that's a great thing as well, Jay, is like the guys can hang out in the man cave and they don't have to mess up or scratch up or fuck with the actual home. And so you can have your space to yourself and have it be very quiet, peaceful, while the dudes are kind of chilling in the man cave. And they don't have to be messing up the entire house. I don't know. Actually, Max, I disagree. All of the finance in our home came from my husband, but it's our home in marriage. If you don't share everything, it will always be a source of division. Oh, interesting, Jay. Okay. And you know what? I can't speak 100% to this because I'm not married. I don't know what that looks like. I've only been in dating relationships. So in that way, thank you for checking me, because like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything about marriage. I can speak about man caves, but I can't speak about marriages. So thank you for saying that. And I respect you guys for not being a bunch of yes men and being a bunch of group thinkers and being like, oh yeah, I agree. I like it when you guys kind of give me some other opinions or differing opinions. I love that stuff. So thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. But Jay, you are a strong female woman. So no, I'm kidding. That's a great point. Jay says, Dr. Rachel, she has the power. Castle Grayskull, Castle She Skull, the MCU. Let's see. Okay, I think I've got everyone.
Thousands and thousands of apps for refinancing with stated incomes, notice of assessment, T4 slips. These are basically Canadian slips that prove income. And the vast majority of the breadwinning is still done from the guy. It's like, you know, you have a guy that, I'll give you a recent example, a guy that owns a paving company will make $125,000 a year confirmed. She makes like $42,000 a year doing.
So I think what he's saying now is like, okay, the men are the breadwinners most of the time. That's probably the exception, or that's probably the rule and not the exception, right? Is that men tend to be more of the breadwinners. Maybe in 2023 that might not be the case. Maybe it's a little bit more equal now, but for the most part, men have tended to be historically more of the breadwinners. So if that's the case, I'm still struggling to see what the argument is, because if you're the breadwinner, and like Jay said, if you are sharing things, but you tend to be the breadwinner, I think you could come to a conclusion or some sort of commonality and say, you know, hey, I have spent all this money, I've spent all this time at work or whatever, and I want to have a place that I can kind of get away to if I need to. So I'd really love it if I could have a man cave, if you're cool with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I also don't think that makes you like effeminate if you ask your partner about these things. Because if you just say like, oh, I'm just going to fucking do a man cave, it's like, but then the other thing too is like, I think he's arguing against for having a man cave. I think he's just saying that your whole house should just be your stomping grounds. But I think it's actually, like I said, I think it's more sustainable to a relationship if you do have a man cave, because then you have those two separate places. I don't know, but yeah. Let's see. He seems like a joy to be around. In our vows, we said, all that I am and have I agree to share with you, holding nothing back. That's the basis of Christian marriage. This dude in the video is either single or has a very dominating woman in his life.
You know, a standard sort of feminine role that she's chosen. We're not going to talk about that in this video, but what I want to stress again is the man cave. Women are not paying for the homes. It's still the vast majority of the down payments and income that goes towards the purchase, the maintenance.
So I think what he's trying to say is that if men are the breadwinners in the home, that their entire house should be their man cave. It should be their castle. And so the woman shouldn't have to relegate them to the basement because it's their entire home. I think that's what he's getting at. Chat, is that kind of what you guys are understanding from this as well?
Taxes, repairs, even the upkeep of, you know, most of the property is still done by, you know, the dude. You know, she's usually taking care of the inside of the house if we're talking about, you know, traditional, more gender-specific roles. But to allow himself to be sequestered to a dark, dingy corner, probably damp, you know, I've seen it a few times, of the home, because she wants none of his stuff to mess up the decor of the frou-frou, you know, throw pillows and the crystals and the chandelier.
The crystals. I mean, yeah, I would hope that I don't have to. I don't want my superhero shit like all over the house. I think at some point I would be like, okay, this looks like a kid's house. Like this looks like a college frat boy house, or like this doesn't look like a house. It looks like an amusement park at that point. Like I would want my house to be more modern. I would want it to be more structured. Like for you guys, you guys see my man cave. So this is what you guys see, is like this very colorful, exciting. There's a lot going on. The actual rest of my apartment is actually super clean and modern and just very like everything is wood flooring, granite countertops, white. The color scheme is white, black, and brown. It's just very simple, very modern, and I don't need a lot of frou-frou stuff, but I also don't need a lot of like comic book stuff out in the rest of my apartment. Like that would look odd if you're having to have an actual apartment space that wants to look professional, wants to look nice, wants to look like an actual home. Because if I started hanging posters all over the place, like I said, it would look like a college frat house or something. Find someone who wants to build and share that space, and you won't have to separate it into this tribal bullshit. Frou-frou, do women still decorate like that? Well, just wait, Dr. Rachel. He's going to talk about pillows here in a second. That's hilarious. John Baker, have a great night, dude, and thanks for being here. I had a 14-hour day. Oof. Damn, dude. We'll get some good rest. And it's time for bed, yeah. What if you just want a room for your collectibles and hobbies? Yeah, that's a great point, Ash. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As long as you talk about it with your wife or your significant other. Yeah, I think that's awesome if you have a room for your hobbies and interests and stuff.
Fellas, listen. A really good indicator that you're not maintaining the frame in the relationship is the number of pillows on the master bed. Saw a house, friend pointed out his awesome man cave. You walk by the master bedroom and you see it's all frou-frued up, and there's something like 17 pillows on the bed. The more pillows, more decor pillows that are on the bed, the less of the frame that you control in the relationship.
I love that. All right, guys, just remember, the more pillows on the bed, the less power you have in the relationship. I'm not one for pillows. I think it's ridiculous to have a lot of pillows, but I would never go as far to say that is the domineering fact of how a woman controls you in a relationship. I would joke about it and I'd be like, there are way too many fucking pillows on this bed, but it would not be an indication of her power over me. I thought the stream switched to HDTV, wood floors, granite countertops. This dude is dealing in total stereotypes, also typical American view of gender roles. I hate this crap. It's why so many marriages fail. Well, I mean, Jay, if you look at where I am here in California, the marriage or the divorce rate is like 50% or something. You're basically flipping a coin. I have movie posters in my living room, but they are framed and tasteful. Yeah, Eric. Well, like for your living room, you can make it like a movie room or something and have some movie posters. I think, other people will post like art pieces and stuff. So I think you can do it in a tasteful way. I was talking about like my comic book posters and stuff. Pillows are a gauge of derived masculinity. I really don't get the whole pillow thing. They take up so much space. Yeah, Monopoly. I don't get it either, but I don't think that it's an indication of like your status in a relationship. This is why you go house hunting with your partner. That way you can examine the space together and imagine, ooh, I like that. Yeah. Hey, I like having those pillows. Thank you very much. For fuck's sake, this dude is a moron and will never keep a half decent woman in his life. He'll also never keep as many pillows. I have an ample amount of pillows to spoon with. I thought it was higher out there. So Monopoly, I think it's 50 in Southern California. I think it's 75 if it's Southern California in the Marine Corps. Or yeah, something like that. It's really high. It's really high. I think marriages fail because of a lack of compromise and tenderness. Yeah, absolutely, Shelby. Sorry, excuse me. If you look at pillows and think, oh no, not for me, then you need a break.
So this is more of a public service announcement, okay, guys?
Guys, it's a public service announcement.
You've got to maintain the frame in the relationship. The beta-tization by 1,000 concession happens far too often with men, and the attractiveness that their women have for them eventually goes down and declines.
So in terms of betaization, I think that's what he said. Yeah, use the pillows to make a fort. In terms of becoming beta over time, and your woman not being as attracted to you over time within a marriage, um, like I think culture, Californian culture, American culture, more of the modernized culture and modernized ideology is trying to devalue men and is trying to kind of put them in their place, if you will. That's why the term toxic masculinity came around, is because these traditional values of a strong male character or a man who adheres to courage, values, strength. Like even somehow now in 2023, going to the gym, showing some type of musculature is toxic, or it's patriarchal or something like that. So I do think that there is a defeminization of men within culture today, but I don't think it's because they have man caves. You know what I mean? Like betaization, I think is what he said, Eric. Many pillows is an American culture thing. Beta PSA brought to you by Kmart Jack Murphy. By LA Fitness Jack Murphy. Pillows aren't a good stable frame for a fort, though. You gotta use sheets and chairs. Sheets and chairs are the way to build a fort. Hell yeah.
And then they become surprised when she's banging Chad Thundercock, the pool boy.
Chad Thundercock, the pool boy. I like, that's a good superhero name. That should be a new comic book superhero name. Yeah, I mean, like, we have seen, if you guys watch Just Pearly things, Pearl is a huge advocate for, bringing more of a nuclear family back into the fold and having these traditional values and traditional family roles. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But one of the things that she always talks about is how now women tend to be more inclined to leave marriages. I believe 80% of women initiate divorces, and 90% of educated women initiate divorces. I believe that's the statistic that I remember hearing from her. And that's sad. That's sad as fuck. Because you're a total wanker, says Josh. Yeah. She may be banging Tina. Who knows? But yeah, that's the sad thing, is that there are more divorces now that are initiated, like I said, 80% by women, 90% by college-educated women. So with that being said, yes, there do tend to be more women that are, quote unquote, banging Chad Thundercock, the pool boy, or whatnot. But that's not because men have like man caves. It's because women have been, I think, at this point in time, culturally, have been told, you don't need no man, you don't need no traditional, family values, you can go fuck whoever you want. That's something that is inherent within the culture now in 2023. I don't think that's something that has to do with the values of a household, or like having a man cave or not having a man cave, or like, I think that you can still have a traditional home and traditional values and still have a man cave and not have it be emasculating or what was the word that he used? Betaized?
Maintain the frame. Be attentive to these small concessions that you have to make. I mean, you start out the relationship with a couple of pillows in the bed, and if you're going to move in together, if that's what your choice is, and you end up with 17 about a year later, you're slowly losing control of the frame of the relationship. And, if your stuff is moved into the basement of the house and you're no longer allowed to have that cool table or that piece of artwork on the wall, hey, you let it happen, fellas.
I think I would want, but like I said earlier, I think I would want to let it happen, not because I want to be a beta, but because I want my house to look nice and I don't want it to look like the rest of my man cave. I don't know. Like if I have a piece of art that I really love, but I recognize that it's probably not meant for the rest of the house. I want to still admire the hell out of it. So I'm going to probably put it in the man cave because that's a better place for it. But if there's a piece of art that I really enjoy that I think could be a part of the house, then absolutely I would want to hang that up. That doesn't need to be in the man cave. But like I said, communication. This is still a communication issue. This is still a cohesiveness issue. This is still a commonality issue. This is still a let's work this out with your significant other. This is not an issue of why can't I put my fucking poker desk in the middle of the living room? It's like, because no one wants that bullshit. Like, that's a man cave thing, and that's okay. Like that's totally fine to have that there. But what do I know? That makes me a betaization male. Honestly, I really believe divorce rates are so high because most couples don't take through and agree the practicalities of what it will mean to live together in reality. Betaization. Betaization. Also, all of those dads are telling their daughters that they're princesses that can do no wrong. And their mom say that men should completely cater to their every want or desire, says Josh. Harley says, babe, that throw rug will not look good in the hellscape that is my cave, but I love you, so I will put it in there, covered by many things. My tapestry for the dogs playing Joker won't fly in the dining room. The point of the man cave is to have your own private area away from others. Putting it in front of center of the house defeats the whole purpose of the man cave. Right. That's it. That's the thing. And I think that's what I would argue, like I said earlier, is like, I'm trying to think of a better phrase than power move, but I do think that it does signify a lot of trust and a lot of confidence within the relationship, that it does almost seem like a power move to be like, hey, I'm going to go to the man cave for a little bit, because you have that trust within your relationship to say, I can go spend an hour by myself reading, painting models, building figures, reading comic books, watching a movie, watching sports, building a table, like, whatever it is that you want to do as a man for that hour, you can have that time to yourself, and your wife knows that that's healthy for you, or your significant other knows that that's healthy for you. Same thing, like if my wife told me, hey babe, I just got back from work, can I just have like an hour to myself? I would love if she took that hour away for herself to go do what she wanted to do, whether that was read or take a nap or go to the gym or whatever it is. Like I would want her to do that. But if we don't have that opportunity to go do that and be apart from each other, then that would it would be tough to then have that relationship, because you're constantly like by each other's side and you're like I said, at each other's throats. All I want is a private bar surrounded by nerd things, blasting thrash metal. Right now, that's my living room, but I'm happy to move it elsewhere. Exactly, Harley. Great way of putting it. Christmas and Halloween pillows are a must, says Ash. Ash, I actually have a couple Christmas pillows. They're pretty dope.
Point that I want to make in this video, and hopefully it comes off clear and not as a disparaging sort of statement, is just be attentive. Be attentive to what goes on in the frame of your relationship. A man cave to me is just a sign that a man has been pussified. And
ooh, a man cave. Okay, so he says a man cave to me is a sign that a man has just been pussified. Oof. Jay says one of the tough things about marrying later after you've lived alone for years is just learning how to share a space. Yeah. That's the big thing, Jay. I dated a girl while I was in the Marine Corps for about a year, and when she came over for a week, we spent a week together at my house, and it was difficult for us. Like, we'd never been in that space together, where I would come home and from a 8-hour day or 10-hour day at work from the Marine Corps, or maybe even sometimes like a 12 or 14-hour day from the Marine Corps. And navigating that space was like really difficult, because normally I would just come home, fuck off, and like take my boots off, take my uniform off, and like just read comic books or like watch a movie, and I wouldn't have to say anything. But when you come home to someone, you still have to engage with them. That's your partner. You still have to be at home with them, and that's really tough to navigate that type of space. Like I said, subliminal order. If this dude had a man cave, he wouldn't have to film this in his car. Oh, Ash dropping some bombs. Damn. He'd probably be like, well, this is my fucking $300 million car though. So yeah. This dude probably found his wife with the pool boy. Oh no. Miss Martin Muses what? Monopoly just gives a big fat L. This dude sounds like he's married to a woman but sleeps with men because it makes him feel more masculine. Dude, I'm so fucking masculine, bro. I only hang with dudes. You better believe that I fuck dudes. Miss Martin Muse's spouses used to have separate bedrooms if they could afford it and visit for certain reasons. I think it's a rather nice idea. And yeah, I've never heard of that, Miss Martin Muses, but I could see how for some relationships that they would need that, that they would need those two separate rooms. But yeah, so where did we leave off? Pussification? Didn't he say something like that? Here, let's roll it back a little bit.
Is just a sign that a man has been pussified,
Yeah.
and he's lost all control and frame of what goes on in the relationship. I mean, I know that some guys proudly, display these things off to their friends, or when they invite their friends over, they hang out in that specific region of the home, but it's not impressive. To me, it's sad. It's like, a racehorse that was, ripping up and down, being...
I got news for you. Josh says, dude, Max, you've got to stop saying things like, I just come home, fuck off. It sounds like your version of Henry Cavill's cardio. Oh, like I'm feeding the ducks type of thing, or what was Henry Cavill's version of cardio? Was he saying that he was in relations?
Sequestered to some crappy corner of some retirement farm, like it's where you go to die, sort of thing. I mean, is that really what your position in life is? You've just given up?
Once again, I don't think the man cave is something that you're subjugated to, or that you're that you are scoffed at and just looked at like, oh, you can be in the basement. I think it's actually like a major pride thing. Like, I think it's a super flex. Like, if you are a guy that has a man cave and can flex on people to say like, dude, check out how dope this thing is. Like, look at all of the money I've spent to make this thing mine, to customize it to my liking, to have all my shit up here. That's pretty cool. I mean, like, I think that is a sort of sense of pride. It's like, this is your space, this is your area that you can call home, that you can call yours. I don't think it's I think he called it like a prize horse that's now just been relegated to the old farmhouse that's getting ready to die. Like, I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's actually something that you cherish and something that you hold in high regard, to be like, this is something that I have spent hours on because I want it to be something special, right? Let's be honest, this dweeb just got denied from some TikTok chick. I'd say the absence of a man cave is a sign of pussification. That's how I feel as well. She needs to keep her eye on you at all times, and you don't have your own space. Like I said, Dr. Rachel, like, it's actually a flex if you trust your significant other to be like, hey babe, I'm just gonna go to the man cave for a little bit. That she trusts you enough, and that you guys have that explicit communication to where you guys can spend an hour apart, 2 hours apart, and not feel Like, oh my God, he hates me. Like, no, that takes a lot of trust and a lot of communication. You're right about having some decompression time when you switch from work to home, even if your work is in the home, for sure. Josh just says, yes, sex. That's Focht thinks he's a racehorse. Oh, Fat Fox. I can see that. Yeah, especially for snoring. Yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Up on yourself and your masculinity and your right to space in your own home. Right? Anyway, I'm not going to bang on too much on this one. I just want to...
Wait, right to your own space in your own home. That's, like I said, a right to your own space. You're saying, this is my space. This is my right to have a man cave. It's almost like, yeah, I feel like if I were an alpha male, like sigma male YouTuber, I would actually be arguing for the man cave, because it would be such a, like I said earlier, like a power move, quote unquote. I still don't like that term, but it is something that, like, I don't know. If I were a sigma male YouTuber, I would be like, men, it's a fucking power move to, like, go have like a man cave and, like, don't let your wife in there or whatever. Like, obviously I would want my wife to come in the man cave. I think it'd be dope to have her down there. But it is a space. It should be a space that you can go away and be alone for a little while, have some solitude, have some seclusion. But yeah, I'm kind of repeating myself at this point.
To state that because I think it needs to be said. I've never heard anybody mention it before, and there's just far too many guys proudly talking about something that they shouldn't be proud of, to be honest with you. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Smash the like button. Maybe you need to send this video to a friend that's got a proudly displayed man cave that you're kind of questioning yourself. Also, I just want to mention the private men's community, entrepreneursincars.com/community.
Okay, we don't need to. Okay, so this guy, like I said, this video is from Entrepreneurs in Cars. I want to make sure I give credit to him, even though I don't agree with what he had to say. I want to make sure that this content is somewhat transformative, so I'm not just stealing whatever it is in his video. But yeah, Entrepreneurs in Cars, the video is called The Problem with Man Caves. Well, I think that should just about do it for tonight, guys. Let me go ahead and put our music back on. Jack Murphy approves of this video. Real men mark their territory with their urine rubbers. They have cream for that. Talk to him, Frosk. Talk to him, Frosk. Got to do some of this. Yep. Once you have kids or cats, your house is now theirs, not yours. With children, it's a sacrifice you make as a parent. Yeah, for sure. Well, we have successfully gone 2.5 hours tonight. That was way longer than expected, but it was a lot of fun, and I had a good time. So thank you guys for hanging with me tonight. I will do, Christian. Thanks for being here, brother. I'm currently, just to give you guys a heads up, I am currently designing a banner, or I have an individual who's designing a banner for me. And so that's going to be really cool. We're going to put it on the YouTube, page. We're going to put it on the Twitter. And I just want to make something look, I want to make the banner look a lot more official, a lot more, produced. So I hired a graphic designer, and he's done some fantastic work in the gaming community. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to be able to produce. So yeah, look for that in the near future. Oh, that's a good question, Dr. Rachel. I didn't actually look at the comments or the like to dislike ratio. That's a good point. I think taking advice from a man with thumb holes in his sleeves is a bad idea. I only know of goth girls that did that with their sweaters. That's hilarious. It's weird. It's weird. Our streams back to Mondays. Ash, I think streams will most likely still be Sundays. I had to change it to Monday this week just due to a family dinner that I had on Sunday. So they will still end up being on Sundays. So I apologize about that. But they'll continue to be on Sundays for the Max's Man Caves. But yeah, so like I said, designing a banner, I think it'll look really cool. I haven't seen it yet, but I will give you guys a heads up once we get that all started. And then I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but I started a men's group. I started a small group with my local church. So I'll be doing that for the next 2 or 3 months, I believe. So I'll keep you guys updated on that and let you know how that goes as well, because that should be pretty interesting, learning more about like diving deeper into theology and just the teachings of Christ. So I think that'll be a really good thing. And just to get away from a lot of the political discussions and ideologies that currently reign supreme here in these like more entertainment spaces or whatever. So Monopoly says, great stream, Max. Enjoy your week. And everyone in chat, thanks, Monopoly. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Dr. Rachel. I had thumb holes in some of my sweaters back in middle school. Yeah. Harley, no. We won't be doing that anytime soon. But it will be cool. I think it'll end up looking rad. So, not the banner, the small group. Yeah. No subliminal order here. But with all that being said, I will go ahead and give a send-off because I think I forgot to do it last week. I was so out of practice that I forgot to say to reject modernity and embrace your legacy. And I will see you guys in the next video. And once again, thank you guys. Thank you, chat, for all being here. It's always good seeing you and hanging with you guys. So I will look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.